This is TWiT.
A few months ago, Fractal Design, who, if you aren't familiar, Fractal Design, well known for these sort of monolithic cases that are as unostentatious as imaginable. They only recently started putting tempered glass on the sides of their Define series cases, and those are the ultra quiet, heavily sound insulated cases with ultra quiet fans that still had decent airflow. And then they came out with, I think it was called the Vision series, the Define Vision S2 I looked at earlier this year. And it didn't age that well. Like at the time, I'm like, oh, it's a Define case, but it's glass panels. But then it had okay temps, but it was at the expense of some pretty loud noise levels for them. Like we were talking high 30s, low 40s noise levels, which is nothing like what we had expected from a Define case, which are usually some of the quietest cases we would test all year. And then this comes in, and I'm very skeptical, thinking, okay, another tempered glass case from Fractal. Their last one was $230, I think, and didn't have that great a performance. I mean, it had, you know, tempered glass everywhere. It was tempered glass front, rear panel, front panel, top panel, and both side panels were glass. So the move to this design that actually I think makes it work is the fact that it's sort of a hybrid. The front panel is 2/3 their standard kind of plastic insulated front panel with a glass window instead of being all glass. And then the top is like 2/3 glass, and they revised the vents on the sides, the sort of slats along the sides of the front panel, let in a lot more air than the previous design did. And overall, it has a unique appearance too. I was surprised. This is a Fractal Design case, but it looks like one of those Corsair Alpha series cases, kind of where it's asymmetrical. It has interesting lines and angles on it that are certainly unusual for Fractal Design. But the build process, I mean, essentially look at it. If you like the looks of the case, check out the performance of the case, because all the rest of it is the Define R6. If you open this case up internally, it's exactly the same as the Define R6, which is an excellent case. And it has their sort of modular design. The inside of the component chamber has this big door on it. And what's behind that door is the mounts for all the hard drives. And you can put a ton of hard drives in this thing. It comes with 6 hard drive trays, but you can add more, or you can take the whole thing out. You take it out with a couple screws in the top and bottom, the whole bracket comes off. They've got this wide open case design, so you can do whatever you want with the case. And another cool thing about it is the top panel that ships with this, which is glass, there's a completely separate top panel that ships in the box with it too. So you can slide the top panel off, and then you can add a bracket for top mounted radiators and fans. There's a screen filter that slides in over it, and then there's a new top panel that fits in over the top of all of that, which is heavily ventilated. So then you can totally transform the case to one that is not meant to have fans or radiators in the top at all, to one that is loaded up with fans and expelling air straight out of the top of the case, which would greatly improve its already very good cooling capacity. It's like getting 2 cases in the box. And they've done stuff like this before. Like the Define R6 came with this kit that let you change out the top panel insert. This is like the whole top of the case pretty much you're replacing and just changing the character and design of the thing entirely. So I really liked it. And the fact that it's better in every way than the S2 Vision was. It's $50 or $60 cheaper. This is a $179 MSRP. When I checked, it was out of stock at Amazon at the MSRP. They were waiting on more. But that's going to be the street price. And it has some of the most understated RGB effects I've seen too. Like it looks just like the RGB strip that Be Quiet put on their Dark Base 700 we looked at earlier this year. Where imagine a case where there's just a thin strip of color running across the top of the case, sort of zigzags over the front and then down the side. And that's it. There's no RGB fans. I mean, you can put an RGB build into it if you want to, like I did. And then you can either use the controller or actually plug it right into your motherboard's RGB header, like so many motherboards have, and sync it right up with your motherboard color scheme. So I did like a purple color scheme, and then the strip on the outside of the case was purple, and it's understated. It was kind of refreshing. You can get this in like a dark tinted glass that's so dark you almost, you can't even see through it, and create a really kind of stealthy. Although at that point, why have glass if you can't see through it? But hey, it's shiny. maybe because shiny. So anyway, it's an impressive case, and it's like the perfect counterpart to the Define R6. They have one case that's all business, and this one that's higher style, but functionally they're identical, and they have very similar performance. Check it out. The review has some charts and things. Of course, finally, I discovered the Space Invaders problem with an RTX card firsthand, because of course,
oh no,
staying up late right before I was supposed to be going on vacation, trying to get this review done, I started seeing these weird artifacts on the screen, like, oh no, I recognize these, and then my RTX 2070 died. And I have other cards, of course, but I only had one of that exact card. I needed to do noise testing compared to all the other cases I've tested recently, and I couldn't. So I threw in a 2070 Super in there, and it did fine. In fact, it was just a little bit behind the performance of the Open Test Bench. I did like Open Test Bench testing on the GPU, which is ideal scenario. There's no enclosure. All the hot air is just being expelled all over my room. And it was still only 3.5 degrees warmer inside the case. So there's very good airflow in this case. And if you have a GPU like so many that have a 0 RPM idle for the fan profile, then
right.
I noticed a huge reduction in idle temps with my GPU inside of this case versus in the Open Test Bench. So something to consider. But yeah, got my thumbs up. I give it the rare editor's choice, because everything, like right down to the fact that the front panel has that completely toolless, like wire-free connection for the RGB strip. There's no little like dangling wires or anything to worry about. It's very clean. The whole thing comes apart very easily. It's hard to. I mean, there are a lot of cases where I don't have anything to complain about, and I didn't really find any faults with this design. So if you like the way it looks, it's an excellent choice.
It's unusual for you to not have any complaints about a case. I mean, it's charming and delightful. I'm down with it.